Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm going to try to do this video again. I did it the first time. It's a video on Spiritism, a pretty common cult in the United States. I did it the first time and I forgot to turn the audio on, so there was no audio, it's just video. My mistake, or was it? Anyway, we're going to get started with this. This is a group that's probably the oldest group of cults. It dates back to its origins in Babylon, and actually it's an old group, and the desire of the group was to communicate with the dead. Now, that was pretty popular back then. If somebody died, you'd want to talk to them for various reasons. But anyway, to communicate with the dead, it's one of the oldest cults, and its purpose is to get knowledge of the future and communicate with the unseen world to get this hidden knowledge. And that's basically how Spiritism started. Now, you've heard about it, even if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say it's a religion, but you've heard about Ouija boards, you've heard about horoscopes, tarot cards, crystal balls, seances. All these things are trying to access that unseen world of spirits and trying to get them to do something for you. We know them as jinn. They're the ones that are probably behind all of this stuff. But this started in America in about 1848, and when I say that right there, it should trip a trigger with you. A lot of what we've been talking about in the way of cults started around the 1800s, mid-1800s, so nothing new there. It seemed like this was the time that all this stuff would come out. But it started in 1848 in Hydeville, New York, and there were two sisters, the Fox sisters, which were Margaret and Kate Fox, and they had owned a house in Hydeville, and they heard rappings, so they had an early rapper in their house. They heard knockings on the walls and stuff, and they wanted to communicate. They knew it was something spiritual, and they wanted to communicate. I don't think really they devised a plan in Hydeville, and they moved shortly probably after to Rochester, New York. And in Rochester, New York is where they had figured out on how to communicate by asking a question, and the spirit would either knock once for yes and twice for no, or some sort of communication like that. So this is what they were doing. Now, this is not a new thing. Going to familiar spirits, those that can speak with familiar spirits is what it was. In the Old Testament, in the Bible, you know, we had Saul, and Saul went to the witch of Endor, and he wanted to talk to Samuel, and she's scared of him at first because he has all, you know, prior to this he had all of them thrown out of the country or killed, and so anyway, he's kind of scared, but she's kind of scared, but she winds up doing this for him, and conjures up Samuel, and Samuel comes and talks to him and says, what are you doing? What did you do this for? Okay, so and then it goes on, and you can read it. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 7 on. You can look at it there. The Witch of Endor. It's a story that it's, you know, I think we've even studied that in Sunday school at one time or another. But anyway, you've heard of people like Gene Dixon, Arthur Ford, Abraham Lincoln, one of the former presidents, Daniel Webster. They were all involved heavily into Spiritism. And what does Spiritism believe? Well, they deny the infallibility of Scripture. That's number one. Of course, a lot of people do that. But also they deny the blood atonement, and they say that you're saved by the golden rule. You just do good to other people and you're saved. And also, ultimately, all men are going to be saved. Now, it's significant to note that all these spirit guides are usually American Indians, and maybe because they were, northern Indians, maybe because they were so heavily ingrained in the Spiritism. That's why they're the guides. So, at any rate, we'll tell you a little bit about the Fox sisters, and I won't make this video very long because just not a lot to it. Horoscopes, Ouija boards, all these things, you've heard of them. People I know get up in the morning to read the horoscope before they read anything else. It's the horoscope and the obituaries. That's what people get up in the morning and read. But anyway, this is out here in America. It's all over. Gene Dixon did some really crystal ball gazing in the White House there. Abraham Lincoln did some seances in the White House. In fact, the Proclamation of Emancipation, that probably was written, they say, from a spirit guide. So there'll tell you where it came from. But anyway, it's interesting to note, and I'm going to close on this, that there's always, whenever Shaitan gives you something, and I'll say Satan for those of you that don't know who Shaitan is, but whenever he gives you something, he takes something back, or takes more than one thing back. So in Abraham Lincoln's case, he never was able to have sons that survived. The Fox sisters were alcoholics and drank themselves to death and died cursing God. You always lose something. So people that get involved in these things usually pick up these spirits, need the deliverance from it, and also they live miserably sometimes. Now, it's not all glory, it's all get what I want, and give me the lotto ticket numbers, and, everything's going to be fine. Is that possible? Yeah, it probably is possible. I'm not saying it ain't. The spiritual realm is out there, and these jinn can listen, and they hear what, sometimes what's going to go on in the future. So at any rate, I wanted you to know about this group. I wanted you to know how widespread it is throughout the United States. I mean, it's everywhere. You heard of the movie The Exorcist, where the priest at the end of the movie, he takes the evil demon into himself, and it's the same thing that the shaman in Africa do when they deliver somebody of a spirit. They take that spirit into themselves, and they're able to get rid of it some other kind of way. But I thought you'd find this interesting, and there's more onto this. You can go and read all you want onto it. I don't say that you should, but if you're interested into it, there's plenty of information out there. So, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you richly, may He protect you, and may you have a wonderful week, inshallah.